Hey Michelle, here's your three balls bouncing. Here's some tips on how to get it working better. All right. Okay, I'm gonna switch this to X1 so I can see it playing at the right speed. Okay, cool. So we got a good bounce on the start, and then things get kind of messy when we're impacting the ball. All right, let's figure this out. All right, then let's go look at your reference.
Okay, recording. Nice.
All right. When I do this, I
Okay,
usually
recording.
will like try and tackle one ball at a time. And for me, the easiest ball is the one on the left, this guy, and then this big one is the second easiest. So I'll do the little one the last to try and figure that out. So if we just focus on the one on the right, that should just be pretty standard bouncing. So let's see what we can do to make that work. Um, you should see like pretty normal up and down curves here in order to make this work, and that is not what's going on. So I probably would start by just switching this up. So it just has this standard ball up and down. If you count the reference out, it's probably going to be something like this. Like if you go check your reference. So each of the top part goes lower every time, and it's a little bit fewer frames every bounce. And then we can go in and get these V-shaped curves here. Oh, okay. So now there's this other curves are doing stuff where it's going like moving around and stuff. So that's probably the translate X and translate Z. Let's go back and check your reference and see what it's doing. It's gonna go basically it goes back towards you a little bit, but it doesn't like roll around that much. So it might move. Let's see, what direction is X? That's left and right. So I don't think we need much left and right on this. So I'm just gonna delete it. Just keep it easy. And then we'll go back towards the wall. Let's see what direction. That's left and right. This direction's back, down is back. I'm just wiggling stuff around to figure out which direction is what. So we're just gonna move the ball back during the animation. Something like that. And now we can look at it and go, looks like it's a little slow on that bounce. Probably because there's too many frames right here. Gooch these in. All right. And then the squash and stretch, it looks like things just got left at point at strange numbers. Just set that back to 1. And that's not right. Oh, I see. Oh, 0. Set this to 0. There. So let's just leave it at 0, and then that ball is bouncing. Okay, so we got one ball done. And then we'll check the next ball. So this is the next most challenging ball. Set this back to 0. Gonna get rid of these keys. So it's just a ball that's bouncing. This one, it moves when it impacts the purple. So I think what I'll do, see how it's like wiggling around right in here. It's like popping left and right and left. Really, it's just gonna bounce and then pop right when the purple ball hits the ground. Why don't we find what frame that happens on? Oh, not that. Here. Okay, so I think the first bounce is probably accurate. So I'm going to count from here. So it bounces once. So it deflects right as it hits the ground. So right on the ground frame is when things change. So the first bounce is normal. So it goes bounce, and then that's, let's call it on frame 39. Okay. So again, we should be seeing like nice normal looking naturally dropping bounce curve, just like the last ball. So it should just kind of drop over time. If that's not happening, then we messed something up. It's just kind of a clue. So that's a bounce. I think it was 21 frames. So I think the first bounce, based on your reference, was about right here. I think it was 21. I'm going to count one more time. Yeah, 21. So 21 frames after the, this first bounce. So 26. So it's 15, 36. That's that bounce. And then the next bounce is only 10 frames. So right there. Yeah, so you see when you count out your reference, you'll see that things are happening quite a bit faster than what you've keyed. So you just got to keep them. That's the main benefit to using reference is it helps you identify the correct timing on stuff. And then at this point it goes to the right. So we shouldn't have any right motion yet. It should just bounce. And then when it hits, it should then move to the right. That's this way. and how far does it move. Just kind of rolls over for 50 frames or so. That's probably about right. It impacts, bounce, so 36. That's when it starts to move. And then it rolls for 50 frames, so 75. So in here somewhere. I think it would move quickly when it hits and then slow down over time. So something like that. So it goes, when it hits, it goes over and then stops. If you haven't figured this out, I'm always like looking at the screen and looking at the graph editor and just going back and forth and seeing what changes I make in the graph editor and how it changes in the viewport. Everything you do here, it impacts stuff up here. All right, so now we got 2 balls done. Now we're gonna go after this one. This is the hard one. So I'm just not gonna worry about squash and stretch. Let's just do the bounces. So we know it was the end of the second bounce. So there's the first bounce, and then it should impact right about there. We want this ball to be on top of that ball. So that's this red curve. So the ball's going to start here, and then probably, yeah. Here it's going to be on the green, so I'm moving it over to the green. And then it'll bounce back the other direction, which will be, and then it bounces off screen. So we should just need a curve like this. So it bounces, hits this, we can V-shape it, and then it bounces off screen. So really just, that's all it needs to be. That's the left and right curve. And we want it to change right about there. That's where we want it to hit. So now we're going to do up and down. We're going to hit the top of the green ball. So it's basically bouncing off the ball, so it's not hitting the ground, right? That's, if it were hitting the ground, it'd be down here at 0, right? But it's hitting the ball, so it's going to be up here. And then it'll just bounce like normal right here. All right. And that'll be lower. I always make sure the second bounce is lower than the first bounce. I might lift this up just a little bit. Don't need these over here. Okay. I don't think this needs to be so high. All right. And your reference, I think it shoots off really fast. Yeah, so it goes, bam, it's really fast. Yeah, see how going left, it just bounces and then bounces and then it's out. So it's out in like 15 frames. I think it's gonna be on the translate. That's this guy. Gonna be way faster. I'm just messing with the curve to try and get it to go. a way that kind of matches the reference as much as I can. There we go. Pretty close. It's not perfect, but I think you get the idea. Oh, we lost the V-shaped curves here. This happens a lot as you're working. You just gotta add it back in because I know we did this earlier. I think we did. I'm not sure actually. All right. There we go. All right, we fixed it. Okay, so yeah, just go ahead and give this a try when you have time, when you can get around to it, and do your best to follow along. But that's the goal right there. That's what we're trying to do. And you just kind of pick your scene apart and see if you can figure it out. Okay, good luck. See you later.